correction of the homework from last week. The first question, Islamic wudu and ghusl improved life. Yeah, if you close the door. Okay, thank you. Very good, bravo. Improved the lifespan of Muslims 1445 years ago. The Prophet ﷺ said the hadith that أعمار أمتي بين الستين والسبعين. My people, you're not allowed to eat in that class. Yeah. أعمار أمتي, don't throw it here. That will be a sign that somebody was eating. Yeah. Put it in a paper. Yeah, put it here.
I'll finish it.
No, you're not going to eat the stick. Put the stick here. So he said, Amaru Ummati, they will live between 60 and 70. So at that time, people were not living 60 and 70, were much shorter. But because they were going to follow the Sunnah, and the Sunnah would make them behave in a more hygienic way, clean ways, they will live longer. So that was a miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Question number 2, Western European countries, they learned about personal hygiene from the Muslims during the Crusade. They also knew from the Muslims in Spain. But when they came to Middle East and they lived between the Muslims, they said that we didn't help noticing that they were much smellier than the Muslims. And they started investigating why. They found that, yes, they wash 5 times a day. Question number 3, looking after your personal hygiene, including brushing your teeth, is obligatory in Islam because you have to do wudu 5 times a day. You can't help it but wash your face and mouth and arms and feet and things. A lifespan of people living in Europe improved in the 18th, 19th century. It was 39 years old they used to live, average, because they learned the personal hygiene from the Muslims, wudu and ghusl. So they started having a regular wash, a regular bath, and regular showers and regular cleaning. Before antibiotics were discovered, antibiotics started being used in the 1940s, while the lifespan improved before that because of the improvement in personal hygiene and the food intake, and Muslims were banned from a lot of food which will harm them. Until now, the West did not learn the message about alcohol, how bad alcohol is. One day they will. Question number 5, you will be rewarded for looking after your personal hygiene if you start what you're doing by niyyah, intention. You get rewarded, you get improvement because of improving your personal hygiene, but you also get rewarded for doing it for the sake of Allah. We do things for the sake of Allah, whether we know why or not. We never ate pork for the last 1445 years. We might not be able to find out why we're not allowed to eat pork. You cannot feed an infant pork from birth, because children do not digest food until they are 6 months or above. They need milk. They need homogenized milk. What's that mean? The protein broken.
Yeah.
Because the milk from the cow, it's long protein. They can't digest. So you need your mom's milk or homogenized milk. They break the protein into digested milk, baby milk. So you can't feed an infant pork since birth and find out what happened to him, and not feed others pork, see what happened to them. There's a lot of things you can never do. Like if you clone man, yeah, what will happen? We don't know. It will be too late to discover. In America, there were a scientist, professor in one of the universities, and he said because there were addition to the water, they tried it on frogs and they found that frogs became homosexual. So he started publishing the paper. He was banned from the university because the research was done with the money from the university. And so he went to Malaysia and started publishing it. So something in the water making people prone to become gays and lesbians and things. And so probably you need to purify. I bought a TDS instrument. You put it in the water, you see how pure the water is. The tap water in my house is 75. There's 75 particles in the water dissolved. The bottled water, there were 120. So the tap water was less, there's less ions in it and less minerals. Your house was that we tested your 55, the water in your house, a tap water. And the dirty water will be 1,000 plus. Between 2,000 to 3,000 become non-drinkable. So there should be, in America, you should test the water. I can't remember the name of the things which cause the frogs to become lesbians and gays and things. And that's you know, an experiment done. So the purity of the water is important. So if you say the niyyah, you get rewarded by Allah. So you say the niyyah whether you know why or not. Because by the time you discover why, probably it's too late. Probably, you know, he is now in the gender recognition clinic and he's about to chop his own genitals. Or when they chop his genitals, how will you become a man again? So there's a lot of things taking place. Now, in Scotland, there's a problem now in Scotland because the Green Party, I think they wanted to have more green projects, including gender, transsexual admission accepted. And I think they split from the Green, so that's not on the agenda anymore. And that might cause loss of confidence in Hamza Youssef, and he might lose being the first minister. So sometimes certain ideas might cause trouble in the whole country. Now, question number 6. Muslims started brushing their teeth with arak sticks 1445 years ago. When did the West invented the toothbrush? How many years ago? And the toothpaste? The chemicals in the arak stick is actually there to clean your teeth. So recently, last 200 years or something, I don't know. Do you know exactly?
No, I have a question.
Let us finish the homework. Question number 7. Beside cleaning your body, wudu, you clean your body spiritually because you get rid of the sins committed by your mouth, by your hands, by your feet. Your feet carried you somewhere haram, or by hearing things. When you hear things, you might have no control over hearing it, but Allah Azza said, if you إذا رأيت آيات الله يستهزأ بها فأعرضوا عنهم إنكم إذا مثلهم إن الله جامع الكافرين والمنافقين في جهنم جميعا. If you hear people making sarcasm or ridicule the Islamic teaching and the message of Allah or the messengers, you should either stop them or leave. Say, I'm not really interested in such a discussion. Either you stop or I will go. So you stop hearing the bad things. And the last one, original sin committed by Prophet Adam and Eve in paradise will be cleaned by which one? What's the answer? What's the answer? None of the above. So do you know why you lost your mark? Do you know why you lost your mark? What was it?
For the question where it says your reward is for looking after your personal hygiene, I put if you perfect your wudu, because I thought that the niyyah comes in with perfecting wudu.
What's your question, Safwan?
I was going to say, didn't all the prophets used to use that arak stick to clean their teeth as well?
Yeah, they used to use Arak stick.
Wouldn't it be like, would it not be 1445 years ago?
Would not be what?
Would it not be like 1400 years ago? Would it be like more than that?
No, when they started practicing the Sharia in full in Medina. So now it's 1445. He was practicing from birth. The Prophet ﷺ never did anything haram and not good for him. So he was practicing even before he became Prophet. But officially it was. Do you have a question, Brahim? No.
Did you say last week that we should only do wuzu like 3 times a day? Because otherwise...
Not 3 times a day. You clean, when you do wudu, you do 3 times washing your face or washing your mouth. You're not allowed to wash your face 10 times. Oh, it's cleaner. No, it's not. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you do it more than 3 times, you're not following Abul Qasim. You're not following the Prophet ﷺ.
If you're doing wudu, say you forgot to do your face and now you're cleaning your face.
By the way, you ask question by text. I don't like answering by text, because no matter how much I write, it will be a book, because every answer will generate more questions. Take it from me, I mentioned this before to you, and don't get it in your brain, because if you don't get it in your brain, you will have the same question thrown on you till you die. From university, from people.
People always ask me that.
Yeah, but you should have the answer, because I mentioned the answer many times.
So can I write it down?
You write it down.
On
Wait.
my phone.
This is what I'm saying, but I don't answer that. When Aisha radiallahu anha said, when her father became a Muslim, invited by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and came to their house, she was a little girl. Little girl. So how old she would have been to notice the Prophet inviting her family to Islam? Little girl, what age you give her? 3. 3 years old. The Prophet ﷺ stayed in Mecca inviting people for Islam for 13 years. Then he went to Medina. When she went to Medina, how old was she then? 3 plus 13? 16. He married her 2 years later. How old was she? 18.
Wait, so where did the 2 years? So 13
He married her the 2nd year in Medina.
So
2 years, after 2 years, he married her in Medina. So she was 18.
So 13 years.
When her father became a Muslim, she was a 3.
Yeah.
The Prophet stayed, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Mecca for 13 years. Her father was the first to become Muslim. So when she went from Mecca to Medina, she was 16. She married 2 years later. So she married when she was 18. People usually under or overestimate time. I saw one patient in Lincoln. I said, how old are you? He said 25. He was 55. But he was admitted to the hospital because he was paranoid schizophrenic and he was underestimating time. By 30 years. By 30 years, he thought he was 25. He was 55.
Isn't there like another version where it's like she had a sister and then her sister was like some age and then...
Asma, her sister, was older than her.
Wasn't there like a way that you can work out as well that
Asma, her sister, was taking food to the Prophet ﷺ when he was hiding in the cave of Thawr when he immigrated. So her sister wasn't like, she was a 3, her sister was 40. No, she was a 3, her sister was 6 or 7 or 10. When the Prophet immigrated, her sister was 20, 23 or something. Now,
I heard one theory that when she said she got married to him when she was 9, she meant 9 years after puberty.
yeah, which one was correct? When she said, when father became Muslim, she was little girl, or when she said, I married when I was 9? Which one of the two you will take? Yeah?
She was a little girl.
Which one of the two you will take?
The first one.
Yeah, the first one, because she was telling historical event. Most women, when you go to Syria, my mom used to say she was 5 years younger than what her father claimed. Her father said she was born in 1925, while she was born in 19 29. So which one of the two I take as her son? Because registering is the same when you go to some of our families. I don't want to mention names. People you know. So which one of my moms I will take? I asked her when, and my brother, the first son of her was born in 1942. So would you take that she was 13 when she had my brother? She married when she was 12? Or she married when she was 16 and her son was born when she was 17? When you ask her, were you 11, 12 when you got married? No, I was older than that. So what you take, 1925 is the correct one. Why she was underestimating the habit? No.
So when someone showed me in like the hadith, it was like a trusted one, and it said that she said she was like 6. So what am I meant to say to her?
No. She said when she married she was 9. But what you need to take, she has the two things, and that's in Seerah ibn Ishaq and ibn Hisham. Very documented Seerah, a book, the history book. So she said in that, and well documented, that she was little girl when her father became Muslim. There were no history to say that Abu Bakr had Aisha when he was a Muslim. She was already there, little girl. So you need to take it. And it is known people underestimate and overestimate sometimes. They didn't have any registration of birth. In Syria, there were no registration of birth till 1930, 40. And they started the registration when they started wanting to take people to the army. They will take you when you are 18. So many people, including your grandfather, he told us, may Allah bless his soul, that his father recorded him that he was older by 3 years to escape being called for the army, military service. So I want to celebrate his 90th birthday. But he said to me, in your house,
It's actually 86.
he said I was 86. Next year I will be 87. But on my birth certificate, next year I will be 90. So shall I celebrate 90? I said, no, celebrate the real one. So wait till you are 90 and then celebrate. But subhanAllah, he died before he became 90. He was, by registration, he was 90, but by real birth, he wasn't. He was 86. All right. Today's lesson is on years 5 and 6 of the message of Islam. So year 5 was a horrible year for the Muslims, and there were a lot of persecution, torture, and even killing the Muslims. So the Prophet ﷺ advised the Muslims to fight back. What was the advice? If you are the leader of the Muslims and your enemy is very strong, will you go and explode yourself and or throw missiles on your enemy so you get your people killed? 34,000 of them so far. So what will you do?
Told them to go to embassy.
Yeah, go to a safe place or keep quiet if you are unable to immigrate. And the idea was not to immigrate because the Israelis wanted the Palestinians to leave Gaza. They're trying to kill all of them to take Gaza, to make it part of Israel. So the idea is stay in Gaza. But don't keep shooting them with missiles and bullets. They kill more of you. They want to kill all of them. At one point, there are 3 million of them. So they killed already 34. They don't mind killing the rest. Now, probably Allah Azza wa Jal will stop them now because there's a lot of objection by university students in America. What's the benefit of being a student and join a demonstration? There's no risk on your job. There's some university students, they were banned from the university because they are private universities. But a lot of universities now against the genocide in Israel. So if you make the wrong decision, you might get your followers killed. So the Prophet ﷺ didn't want that, and he asked them to go to Abyssinia because there's a safe place and there's a king there who is just. And nobody unjustly treated in Abyssinia, in Ethiopia. So they went. And those first who went were 15 of them. Uthman ibn Affan went with his wife Ruqayya, who was the daughter of the Prophet ﷺ. Musab ibn Umayr went, Salama went, and her husband Abu Salama ibn Abdul Asad went. and followed by other people until they became 80 of them. So Mecca people were very worried. They thought that they would become stronger and they might come back and invade Mecca, so we better bring them back. So Amr ibn al-As went to Abyssinia with Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah and spoke to the Najashi. And they said to him that, "Oh, Your Majesty, the people who left our country and came to your country, and they are idiot people, sufaha." And he said they left our religion and they did not enter your religion. And they came, invented religion we don't know and you don't know. And their leaders asked us to bring them back to Mecca. So Najashi said, "No, by Allah, I will not hand them to you unless I hear from them." So he called them and they asked, nominated Ja'far ibn Abi Talib to speak. Uthman ibn Affan was older than Ja'far, but why they nominated Ja'far? No, because at that time, they used to, if there's important news, important law, has to be said by the leader or one of his relatives. This is the habit at that time. When the Prophet ﷺ received the ayah from Allah Azza wa Jalla, that أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَاسٌ فَلَا يَقْرَبُوا الْمَسْجِدَ الْحَرَامَ بَعْدَ عَامِهِمْ هَذَا, that the pagans are impure, they should not come to Mecca after this year, and they are not allowed until now. When you go from Jeddah to Mecca, there's a sign, non-Muslims should go right or left, but they can't go forward to Mecca. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ sent Abu Bakr with a message. He said, "You go with the delegation, go to Hajj, and you announce that pagans should not come to Mecca." Halfway through, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asked Ali ibn Abi Talib to go, and himself he has to announce. So Abu Bakr was worried, why I was supposed to, given that job. And the Prophet ﷺ took the job from me, and it was explained to him that Mecca people will only accept that law from Muhammad ﷺ himself or one of his relatives. This is why the Shia came, because the Shia thought that his relative should become a king. It's not in Islam. But the Prophet ﷺ wants Mecca people to accept the law. This is the law. So Ja'far ibn Abi Talib became the speaker, and he summarized Islam in few lines. He said, "Your Majesty, we are people of ignorance. We were worshipping idols. We were eating dead animals, committing all indecent acts. We were bad to our relatives. We were bad neighbors to each other. The strong one used to oppress the weak one, until Allah sent a messenger from among us. We know him, we know his relatives, we know his family, we know his truthfulness, his trustworthiness, his purity, and he invited us to believe in one God and not associate a partner with him and stop worshipping the idols. He ordered us to be truthful and be trustworthy and be good to our relatives, to our neighbors, and never kill, never steal. And he told us to avoid indecent acts, and to stop lying and stop taking the money of the orphans. He ordered us to pray and fast and pay zakah. We believed in him, we followed him, and we worship Allah Azza wa Jal by only. And we took what's haram is haram, what's halal is halal. So our people tortured us and started killing us, and they want us to leave our religion and go back and worship the idols. And they were oppressing us, and they were unjust toward us. So we came to your country. We're told that you are just and you don't oppress anybody in your country. And he said, "That's really nice, good. You stay in my country." So Amr ibn al-As, who came to take them back, he was sent out empty-handed. So I leave the question to the end, unless desperately related to the subject. So Amr ibn al-As thought, what can I do? He went the next day, he said, "Oh, by the way, Your Majesty, they say that Jesus is not Son of God and that he is human like all of us." So the Najashi called them back and he said, "What your prophet say about Muhammad, about Jesus?" And they said to him also a few words. He said, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib said, "He is a servant of Allah, he is messenger of Allah, and he is spirit from Allah Azza wa Jal, and he is a word of Allah. And he threw the word to give to the Virgin Mary, who gave birth to him. So what's the difference between us and the Christians? A spirit created by Allah Azza wa Jal and a word of Allah. The Christians say he is the word of Allah. What's the difference? We say he is a word of Allah, they say he is the word of Allah. Yeah?
So the pronoun, the article used the like, it's like it exacerbates the no, nothing.
By saying they're saying he's like the only one, or we say
Yeah. The word of Allah, the only word of Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jal, he is part of Allah. Split himself into three: the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Now, a word of Allah is an order from Allah. Now they have difficulty, the atheist and the Christian and Jew and things, to accept Allah creates from nothing. One of the Safwan, come and sit here, please. Yeah, I see you trembling, so you get to get fit or something. You know what fit means? Epileptic fit. People go suddenly for no reason.
Right here.
So the question, no, here, in this one. So the difficulty they have is where Allah, when He created the universe, where did He get the material from? They say Big Bang. What was before the Big Bang? Nothing. Where He got the material from? What's your answer will be? Where Allah got the material to build the universe from?
Created it
From?
from nothing.
From nothing. What's the proof? So He created the universe from nothing. What's the proof?
It says that in the book.
Yeah, He said it in the Quran, yeah? What's the other proof? We need a proof. Show us. Now, one of the things which messengers came to prove is that Allah creates from nothing. Salih, when he was asked to prove that he is a messenger from Allah, he hit the rock, split, she-camel came pregnant from the rock. Musa was asked for water, he hit the stone, 12 springs of water gushed out of the stone. He was carrying the stone from A to B to C with him. Whenever they want water, split. Hit the sea, the water became two mountains, solid mountains, and they walked in between. By the way, the Israelis celebrating the Passover these days. So, from nothing, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he came, ran out of water, bring water. You have some water. He put his hand in the water, and the water started gushing among his fingers. From nowhere, nothing. From nothing, the water started coming. Jabir ibn Abdullah invited the Prophet ﷺ in Al-Khandaq war for lunch, and he said, prepare 2 chickens. So the Prophet ﷺ, only me? He said, only me? He said, no, you and Abu Bakr and Umar. And the Prophet ﷺ called all the army. We are invited to Jabir ibn Abdullah. And he went to his wife, he said, Prophet brought all the army to eat. We have only 2 chickens. And she said, did you tell him that there's only 2 chickens? He said, yes. She said, don't worry then. So the army were going on 10 by 10, eating, going out, eating, going out. And the 2 chickens remained a little bit eaten. So Allah Azza wa Jalla multiplying it automatically from nothing. Abu Huraira came to Abu Bakr and he asked, do you have any food or drink? No, nothing. He asked Ammar. Ammar said nothing. He asked the Prophet ﷺ. He said, follow me. So I went with him. He asked his wife, do we have anything in the house? She said, only a cup of milk given to us. He said, okay. Abu Huraira, go and call the people of Sufa. 70 to 400 of them for this cup of milk. And he was so hungry. He said, well, nothing will be left for me. But he was given the order, go and call the people of Sufa. So all of them came, and Abu Bakr and Umar, and they were given the glass of milk. They drink the milk. This milk still full, still full, still full. Until all of them drank. And then he gave it to Abu Huraira. you drink. And then the Prophet said, drink again, drink again. He said, oh, by Allah, nothing, there's no place I get the milk. I'm full up to here. So I said, okay. Everybody, where the milk came from? Nothing. So Allah Azza wa Jal showed us through the messengers, He creates from nothing. My wife's relative, they went to visit him, and he had a jug of water, of tea, and people were coming to the house, and he said to her brother, your uncle, no, your mom's uncle, pour the tea for them. And he kept pouring the tea. Pour the tea. And the tea multiplying in the jug. It's amazing. The Sahaba were going on a mission and they ran out of water. So went uphill and downhill. Oh, there's a river of water. So they filled all their containers and drank and things. They had shower, had bath. And then they finished, they went. One of them forgot his bag. He went to get his bag. There were no river, nothing there. So Allah Azza wa Jalla was showing the prophets, and then now a lot of pious people, this is what I was teaching you about Nawafil. If you do a lot of Nawafil, it will happen to you. Somebody was living in a country, you know, like a run-down house and eating just whatever, you know, he finds. And somebody thought that, yeah, I better take him a good, decent meal, give it to him. So he took the meal and he went to him and, can you have the meal? And then he said, look, and he looked at gold, all of them around, surrounded by gold. And the guy was frightened. So he left the meal and gone. So this guy, not actually poor, if he wants the gold, he can collect the gold, go and sell it. Another one, also one of the, you know, pious people also, he went to have his business and he needed to clean himself. No stones around. So he pointed to the air and precious stone. So he was cleaning himself with precious stone, came from nowhere. So many of the top scholars, people who are awliyaullah, or the devotees to Allah Azza wa Jal, or the ally of Allah Azza wa Jal, in the Quran, some translation translated the friends of Allah. Allah make things happen to them to show them Allah can create from nothing. So Najashi accepted them, said, stay in my country, never worried about it. Year number 6 brought good support to Muslims because Al-Hamza, who was the uncle of Prophet Muhammad was one of the strong men in Mecca, but he wasn't interested to follow what's going on. In the morning, he take his horse and go hunting, and he come back in the evening, and day after day after day. One day he came back and one of his servants, she said, you should have heard what happened to your nephew, Muhammad. He said, what happened? She said, Abu Jahl insulted him with foul language and so much word and things, and your prophet was really insulted by. So he went to Abu Jahl, or his name was Abu Hakam, and he went and hit him hardly. And how dare you insult my nephew, and I'm following his religion. So, and dare to hit me back. So Abu Jahl was terrified, and he said to people, I was really bad to his nephew. He couldn't dare to hit back. So he went home and he thought, I lied. I'm not following the Prophet. I wasn't a Muslim. So I will be really embarrassed tomorrow because I did tell I'm following his religion and I wasn't. What shall I do? And he asked Allah, if his religion is good, let me follow it. So I went the next morning to Prophet Muhammad and he said, this is what happened. I claim to be following you. I said, okay, you're following me. He said, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. He said it, yeah, you are a Muslim now. So officially you are a Muslim, not to worry. So he was defending the Prophet, said, we have to defend Islam. And the second person who became Muslim was Umar ibn Khattab. So Umar ibn Khattab was dead against the Prophet ﷺ. He killed his servant Tuwayba, who became a Muslim, but she refused to leave Islam. So he went one day, I have to kill Muhammad and finish from it all, and took his sword and he went. On his way, he was met by somebody called Naim ibn Abdullah al-Naham. He was Muslim in hiding. He didn't tell that he was a Muslim. Oh, where are you going, Umar ibn Khattab? He said, I'm going to kill Muhammad and finish from him once and forward. What do you do? If somebody going to kill the Prophet, what would you do? Distract him, exactly. So he said to him, before you kill Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, go and sort out your sister. She is a Muslim already, and your brother-in-law. Is she? And he went to her house, Fatima ibn Khattab, bint al-Khattab, and he went barging into the house. How dare you, follow Muhammad, you become Muslim? And he hit her. She fell on the floor. Umar ibn Khattab was very strong and very tall, nearly 3 meters tall. And he hit her and she was bleeding, and he saw that and he was really taken by it. He said, let me, he wanted to comfort her. Let me see, what you're reading. He wanted to take the Quran from her, the sheet with the Quran written. He said, no, you can't take it because you are impure. You have to go and have a wash and then read it. So he went, had a wash and read it. Then he went to the Prophet ﷺ's house. Now, in between, Nu'aym went to the Prophet and told him that Umar ibn Khattab is coming with the intention to kill you. He said, don't worry. If you want to kill us, we will kill him with his own sword. If not, we'll sort him out. So he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he became a Muslim. And then he said to the Prophet, while we are in hiding, we have to go out openly, talk about Allah, La ilaha illallah. So they went out, Umar ibn Khattab on one side and Hamza on one side, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. So he went to the Kaaba and people started hitting Umar ibn Khattab. 20, 30 of them hitting Umar ibn Khattab, and somebody came and said, how dare you hit him? Bani Adi will come after you. His tribe is very strong, so you will be dead in no time. So they left Umar ibn Khattab, and from that day, Umar ibn Khattab became, and Hamza, one of the two pillars of the Muslims. Now, in the way, he actually, one of the ways to tell people, he was like daring man, he said, who will spread the news that I'm a Muslim? They told him, and so he will never stop telling people that you are a Muslim. So he went and said to him, shall I tell you a secret? He said, what? He said, I became Muslim. And the guy straight away ran. Umar, Sabah Umar means that he became Muslim. So Umar was behind him saying, no, I actually became a Muslim. But now the Muslims became stronger. The Prophet ﷺ was sending an ayah, the end of the surah, the end of it saying, أفبهذا الحديث أنتم تعجبون وتضحكون ولا تبكون وأنتم سامدون فاسجدوا لله واعبدوا. It's the end of Surah Al-Najm. And when he read it, the Mecca people were taken by the beauty of the Arabic language, that bow to Allah Azza wa Jal. So all of them went into sujood, including Abu Lahab. He took some of the earth he can't bend and he put it on his forehead. So the news went to Abbasiyah that Mecca became Muslim. So the immigrants came back to Mecca. They discovered it wasn't. It was just one event. So they had to go back to Abbasiyah the second time. And that's year number 5 and 6. On your way out, I need to stamp your 107 or 109.